All right, guys, BD here. We got a crazy one for you. Crazy one for you. Imagine. Just imagine. You're in the middle of this flooding situation. You're cut off from everything, everybody. There's no power. There's no lines of communication. Food sources are nil. And you're stuck out here for days. And finally, you see a helicopter coming through. You wave them down. He's able to rescue your wife or your significant other, whoever that is. Gonna come back for you. But then he's told that he can't come back for you or he'll be arrested because he's stepping on somebody else's toes. How would you feel about that? We're about to dig into this story and take a look at it.
Tonight, for the first time since we showed you the rescue attempt of a Lake Lure couple stranded on a cliff, we now know what happened to the husband. He was left behind after the volunteer chopper pilot who saved his wife was forced to end that rescue effort under the threat of arrest by a Lake Lure fire official.
Wow.
Here's Queen City News Chief Investigator Jody Barr.
I was able to look him up a few minutes after I left. And who is this? His title online is the Assistant Chief of Lake Lure Fire and Rescue.
This is the man volunteer helicopter pilot Jordan Sidum said threatened to arrest him if he made one more trip up a Lake Lure mountain to rescue another person. Just minutes before, a couple waved Sidum down as he passed overhead. Mike and Susan Coffey were stranded on a cliff after the storm washed away their home and the land it sat on.
We could see the water starting to get much more violent, right? And we could see trees start to go down and the water levels start to rise, but we kind of thought we were safe because we were so high up. And then we started to hear a lot of noises.
Rumbling.
Just rumbling.
It wasn't thunder. What's this weird rumbling?
Yeah, trees falling,
right.
Rocks, so it got a little bit frightening at that point. We actually sat there and then we watched our house go. The cliff just dropped. That whole side of the road, the cliff just dropped off, right? All of the trees and the dirt and everything else just started collapsing.
For the next 2.5 days, the couple slept in their car, surviving on 2 bottles of water and 2 bags of chips.
Friday night, we had the water, we had potato chips, we're also dehydrating, that was a great pick, But so by the next morning, we were starting to get worried again of what we would have to be able to drink. We started to see helicopters go over, so every time we heard a copter, we'd just run out and start waving. There was a big pile of rocks at the house next door, so we did a big SOS sign in the cul-de-sac with the rocks. And just staying in the moment to stay positive and not worry too much. And then we saw this small black helicopter fly, and we were waving at it, and it stopped.
And it actually stopped.
Well, yeah, it circled over us.
When you saw that helicopter make a U-turn and start coming toward you, what was going through your mind at that moment?
Thank God. Thank God somebody saw us. Somebody was trying to help somewhere. So that was the first time somebody actually stopped and acknowledged that we were there.
And so Mike says, of course, for me to go first. He'll stay there with the cat, and then Jordan says, I'll come back and get you.
Sidum left his son with Mike Coffey and flew Susan to what Sidum described as a command post 3 minutes away near Lake Lure.
So we land, and I get out of the helicopter, and I go towards them, and so then Jordan is able to come out, and they're just standing there looking very mad and very annoyed, and so who are you? And I didn't realize he had just taken upon himself, followed his heart to come help rescue people. And his communication is so down, it's hard to know who to let know that he has this free airspace that he can go do this. So he was telling them who he was and what he was doing. And they just were just not happy. They weren't happy about it. And he said, this is our this is our mission, this is our operation. We can't just have you flying in and out. And so he was trying to tell them, Jordan was telling them, well, I can't just leave her husband there. I don't want to separate a family. So if you just let me go back and get her husband, and then I'll bring him here, then I'll take my son and we'll go.
One of the Michigan firemen Sidum says he spoke to and who gave him radio frequencies to help coordinate with them told him to do whatever he had to.
There you
Susan
go.
Coffey
That's right.
witnessed that conversation.
Pretty much told him, in a way, break the rule, just go and get her, go get the husband so that they can be reunited. So that's why I thought that it was okay that he was going to be able to go get him. I didn't know that then he was threatened with arrest. He was told just to leave, and so I thought he was going to go get my husband. And
He informed me when he got there. And when I got
That's crazy though, right? How crazy is that? That you gotta do that. That they're gonna arrest you for saving somebody's life? Really?
to the door, he said, I am so sorry, but I'm told if I bring you back that I'm going to be arrested and I can't take you back with me. And in fact, I was told I couldn't come get my co-pilot, my son. I just told him I'm not going to leave my son here. He said, I am so sorry. I don't know what to tell you, but I need to take my son and we're going to leave. And they've told me they're aware of where you are and you will be rescued. He takes off. I had no idea where my wife was. I couldn't comprehend what was going on. Like, how did this make sense? And when, if ever, I was going to be reunited with her.
I can imagine so.
How long it would take for some other rescue crew to get back to me. So that was the most stressful part of the whole experience. I can watch my house go. I can watch our neighbors' houses go. We were together, right? And we knew each other was safe. And when he left, that thought, right, just kind of disappeared. Like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen from here.
Coffey hiked down the cliff and found what he believes is that same Michigan rescue crew from the command post.
Probably 25 minutes later, I saw a rescue crew across the river, and I was waving them down, and I was able to get down the banks to our side of the river where I could at least yell and communicate across the river, saying, do you have my wife? Do you know where my wife is? And they were giving me the thumbs up.
They used ropes to drag him across the raging, debris-filled river to safety.
And the very first thing he said to me was, are you okay? Are you Mike Coffey? We've got your wife, so she's safe. So at that point, I could relax, knowing that she was safe. Those guys also,
You could have flown across the river. You could have dragged the man across a raging river because that was so much safer than just having him fly out there. What the hell? What the hell?
came down from Michigan. They don't know us from anybody. They were willing to put their lives on the line. They're also heroes in the story.
Was there a point in time when either of you thought maybe you may not see one another again?
Of course.
I certainly did.
Yeah. You didn't know who took me, and at that point,
I mean, honestly, this guy shows up in a helicopter, he takes your wife, and then he comes back and says, oh, I can't pick you up, right? I had no idea when
things
or
go
if,
through your mind, right?
I was going to see her again, where she was taken.
After a few hours, the Coffeys found one another again.
So when the bus came back to get me, and then I see the doors open and Mike's head sticks
saw
out,
her.
and he's like, Susan, I'm like, Mike, oh my God. I was so relieved that that he was picked up and that we were back together.
In the days after the storm, the communication lines were down at Town Hall. No phone, internet, or cell signal either. We sent messages to Assistant Chief Chris Melton.
What
The
a
man
piece of
Jordan
trash.
Sidhu said ran him and any other pilot who showed up out of town
Trash.
under threat of arrest.
That's ego.
But Melton never
That
responded.
is all
Thursday
ego.
morning, instead of making Assistant Chief Melton available, the town offered its town manager for an interview.
This is just going to be blow over.
the
Listen
personal
to this.
aircraft that
Watch.
landed was not only unauthorized, but also they provided no notification that they were coming, and that did pose a potential risk to ongoing operations with search and rescue. And then, also
What
just wasn't
risk?
safe for them to be there as regular citizens, especially since we didn't know, who they were.
He
or
told you his background.
what they were doing there.
In the days after the storm,
What
through
a
that
bunch
Sunday morning,
This
there
is what
was
covering your ass
restricted
looks like,
airspace,
right?
in Lake
Throwing this
Lure.
young lady out
The
there
FAA
to toe the
did
company
impose a
line
temporary flight
because
restriction
that dude
after
is too much
this
of a coward to go
encounter
and explain
between Mr.
himself.
Sidhu and the
Say it
Assistant
for
Fire
what
Chief
it is.
Melton.
That's the truth.
So you all still contend today that no one should have been in that area trying to save these people who had been stranded for 2 days, headed into day 2, next to day 3?
Correct. If anything, they should have at least notified Incident Command, who would have authorized them or not.
How are you going to do that with no
be in area.
communication?
Sidham said he did exactly that. When he landed at the Rutherford County Airport and spoke with the people in charge, Sidham says airport officials told him they were only selling fuel to private aircraft if those pilots were helping in the search and rescue effort. Sidham has the receipts showing a fuel purchase going into Lake Lure that Sunday morning and one after the arrest threat just 2 hours later.
And that
I'm
is
unaware
unaware
of.
of that.
Yep.
Ms. Stewman, less than 24 hours later, private pilots were being asked to return to that area to do what Mr. Sidhum was doing at that time. Do you see how that the public may look at that and go, well, that's a little perplexing that, just before he was in severely endangering rescue efforts, and then, less than a day later, they're being begged to come back and help.
Well, I can only imagine that they went through the correct chain of command to be authorized.
Oh,
to
so
come
this
here.
one dude
What was the
didn't.
danger posed?
I love how y'all
and
trying to
what
throw a
Mr.
guy who's
Sidham
actually a
did,
hero
the
out here
specific danger
trying to
that
rescue
day.
people.
Well, it
under the
interrupted
bus.
operations of the people who were there from national, state, and local resources. One, and two.
How, though? He said
downtown
how.
Chimney Rock is in disarray right now. For someone who's not trained, not adequately trained in emergency operations, especially at that time, they should not have been in that location.
Military.
Well, just some hours
firefighter.
later, he was back in the area, and the county welcomed him in to do exactly what he did just the day before. Do you think his training was significantly improved overnight?
I think that it's not that we're turning away help or volunteerism at all. Once again, we just need to go through the right steps to do that. So we're aware, the state is aware, Rutherford County is aware, and the town of Lake Lure and village of Chimney Rock is aware of what's going on. That was not the case initially.
Are you all welcoming those private helicopter pilots who have delivered food and water and medical supplies and are helping rescue human lives from the mountains around Lake Lure? Are you guys welcoming them now?
That would need to go through the Rutherford County Emergency Management or the state emergency management.
Now, I'm asking you, as an official, the leader of Lake Lure, North Carolina, are you now welcoming those private helicopters in your community?
Yes, if they go through the necessary channels.
Do you think that your people on the ground in Lake
Cringy.
Lure did what they should have done when they handled this flooding victim that was delivered to them in the encounter between Assistant Chief Melton and this private pilot?
Yes, sir. They were doing what they were supposed to do at that time. And, I can't speak highly enough of Mr. Melton and all of our emergency personnel that's here right now. They've been out here for days on end, putting their lives on the line to save people. And, they were doing their job.
What would you say to him today?
I would ask that why he didn't take the time to assess the whole situation and make a better decision.
Instead of just
as an
all-handed.
emergency manager, director, and assistant chief of the fire department, that's the time that you should try to be coordinating with outside
I've been like,
agencies to get
go
more
get
help
it.
in. That's
Absolutely.
your
You got
job.
one, go get it.
There wasn't
Then we'll
much
see what we can do
coordination
after
going on.
that.
Sidham told us the only
That's
thing
what a
he
leader
regrets
does.
is leaving Mike Coffey behind, and whatever price he had to pay, he should have paid it.
I'm sorry. If I had to do it over again, I would have stopped and I would have rescued as many people until they decided they were going to arrest me.
He got my wife at his own cost, at a risk to himself, and he was the one person who actually stopped to help just because he could, right? I mean, he got in his helicopter and flew up there just because he knew he could make a difference to someone. And he did. He's a hero. Yeah. I'm sure everyone's stressed in that scenario, but he was following his heart and doing the right thing. Maybe there were rules that somebody would like to impose order on the chaos, but the bottom line is getting those people out of there.
And time matters.
And even if I had never been rescued, knowing that she was safe because what he did would have been enough. So thank you, Jordan. Thank you.
Less than 20.
It makes the blood boil. It makes the blood boil.
Less than 24
It does.
hours after we interviewed Jordan Sidham, he was invited back into the disaster area, along with dozens of other private chopper pilots. A massive all-volunteer supply and rescue effort is working out of the Hickory Airport, doing flight rescues and delivering supplies to places where military helicopters are just too big to get into. The latest numbers we have show those volunteer pilots have rescued somewhere around 200 people and have delivered several tons of food, water, and medical supplies to people still stranded in the North Carolina mountains.
Here's the thing. You get that the situation it's insanity right there, right? It's crazy. It's chaos. There's no order. They're trying to restore order. You understand all that. And maybe this assistant fire chief Melton's a good dude. He may very well be a great guy, but he made a piss poor decision in that one instant. But what he should have done was said, go get him. You know where he's at. You've already been there once. Great. How are the skies? Go get him. And then come back and we'll talk about you being here and what we can do to make sure that you can be part of the situation and not hindering us. That's all you had to do. That's all you had to do. You did not have to lose your mind temporarily and threaten this man with arrest. All right? When you're under stressful situations, I've been under plenty in my career. And you have to think on your feet and you have to be willing to make decisions that sometimes go against the grain for the betterment of the situation at hand. You have to. You can't look at your own ego or the thing that's happening at the moment and go, well, he's stepping on my toes. This is my operation. He's saving lives. The operation is to save lives. It's to rescue people. This guy had already located somebody. Here they are. He was told the airways were open. Communicated that. The guy still didn't care. You got a man out there. Then you're going to drag the man across the raging rapids because that's safer? What the hell? What the hell? I don't know. That's just me. Maybe that's just me. I could be wrong in this entire situation. But damn that. Damn that. Kudos to that pilot. Kudos to that pilot. Happy for the couple to be reunited. That's crazy, folks. Well, what do y'all think? Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about it. Hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. I'll see you in the next one.